Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome home to Rotary. I am thrilled to see just another week of incredibly positive energy and just a lot of fantastic people in the room with us here today. This really fills me up, and not to be selfish or self-centered, but just seeing this makes me so incredibly happy. I'm really delighted to spend this time with all of you. So today we're going to do our Pledge of Allegiance and our four-way test. We have Aubrey is reading a virtue for us today, and Jessica is doing a blessing. We'll have club announcements. Dr. Murray Hansen is doing fellowship today, and I've got a dad joke that's marginal, and Emily Neptune is going to make up for that with her classification speech. So, okay, so let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic and one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wednesday, I chose strength. Strength is the inner power to withstand whatever comes. It is our capacity to endure in the midst of tests. We grow in strength as we tackle life's challenges and with courage and determination. We deepen in strength when we choose gentleness and practice patience. We stay strong when we recognize that suffering is a thread woven through the design of our lives, not to make us unhappy, but to transform us with grace. Character cannot be developed. It means in quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, vision cleared, ambition inspired, and success achieved. That's another. The practice of strength. I have the power to endure my tests. I willingly face the challenges of my life. I have the courage to persevere. I cultivate gentleness and patience. I understand the purpose of suffering, and I trust the value of transformation. I am thankful for the gift of strength that empowers my soul.
Great voice, thank you so much. And Miss Jessica.
Thank you. May you be blessed with the music of joy in your ears. Let it create a rhythm inside your body and invite yourselves to be inspired to invigorate healing and health as they dance in harmony within you and create a joyful sense of balance throughout your mind, body, and spirit.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much. Okay. And do we have any club announcements to be shared today? Yes. Dr. Houston.
I have a couple of things. One is there are school levy signs back there. Take it one ball.
Okay, thank you.
Yard or something like appropriate. And then the other thing is that we're going to harvest some seeds from my prairie to oversee Crockett Creek this winter. Dusty is going to burn Crockett Creek for us, he said, and once the snow comes, we can broadcast the seeds over the top of the snow. And that worked really quite well. So I'm looking for people to help harvest some seeds. Couple of days, once will be this Saturday, about 10 o'clock on Prairie, and the other one will be Wednesday next week tonight, 5 o'clock on Prairie. And what you need is what works good if you have a locker like this, and a small ice cream pail to bring along. So I'm going to send around the sheets for any of you that have that time available and want spend some time on the prairie or just time to be there, and look forward to seeing you. Thank you.
Now, all of us know Dr. Houston has the power to encourage people, and a lot of times when people meet with him to see about becoming a Rotary member, they do become a Rotary member. And I wonder if he brings that tool with them and just sends it on the table and meets with those people. I'm talking about Rotary, not even saying about that, but thank you for all the work that you do for preserving nature and everything. Who else has an announcement to share? Brenda.
I was just gonna say for bingo, I could use some help on Thursday nights and Saturdays. So let me know if you have any questions on that, or if you're available. Thank you.
Very good, thank you, George.
I was just making an amendment to Dr. Houston's talk about the athletic. Any society that does not pay attention to parenting and education, is making the big mistake. Parenting and education. The two most important responsibilities of any society. If you screw up there, we got trouble. And guess what today? We got trouble. Crime is much enhanced by poverty. When we got poverty, and I'm not a socialist, but somehow we gotta figure out not to have children raised in poverty. It's not, it ends up in tragedy. So if we could eliminate all of the crime today, within 10 years, we would, that's what we are doing because of what we're doing.
All right, thank you, George. Any other club announcements? David.
The Red Cross asked us to help participate with another blood drive, so we're sending around the sign up sheet for that. The date is November 7th, 1 to 6.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Club announcement? Okay. Let's see here. Now, we are going to get into fellowship. I did want to highlight that we've got a special person joining us on Zoom, and that's Troy Dunn. And Troy, as all of you know, had served as the sheriff of Rice County for many, many years. And Troy is a wonderful storyteller. And a story of his that I've repeated a few times recently, because Vanilla Ice has come up in conversation, was when Troy started. I can't remember if it was with the police department or the sheriff's department back in the late 80s or early 90s. He showed up with lightning bolts shaped into the side of his head. And his captain or sergeant said, "Go take care of that right now." And so Troy, I know you do a better job of sharing that story than I did, but I think about that story often and chuckle. So Troy, we're glad you're joining us today. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Murray for fellowship.
All right, thank you, Kurt. We have several guests today. Start with George. You want to introduce your guest?
My guest today is James Whelan. James is the executive director of whatever it is, the Guano, and he was part of this group. Well, let's welcome James.
Carrie? Couple guests.
Well, one is actually not a guest, she's quarantining to become part of Rotary, so she's returning in summer. And then I do have a very special guest today, it's my mom. This is Teresa Bolt, and she is the starter and runner of Rescue 55021. And she has a flyer on the table there.
We say, well.
Oh, yes. Her name is Teresa, not.
Yeah, first of all, yeah, I am the executive director and founder of Rescue 55021. And the flyer that is on the table is one of our fundraisers that we do towards the end of the year. And we have our waffle breakfast at Belgian Waffles at the Eagles. It is Saturday, March 8th. It goes from 8 to 12. October 8th. It goes from 8 to 12. Have to mark to get it because it's not on a Sunday. So, yeah, and there's a big sale. We do have some raffles going on as well. I give away for 2 days stay up in the North Shore or up in Two Harbors. So again, this is one of our fundraisers to help us continue to help with them.
Please say hi to Teresa.
Hi,
Teresa. Say hi to Summer.
Hi.
There you are. You got a guess?
We have Samantha here from Laura. Yes, and she is already put in an application, got a member, so please say hello to Samantha. And then once again, Jean is with us today, say hello to Jean.
Hi, Jean.
So I have Ellie with us today, and she is the future and co-founder.
Say hi to Ally.
Hi. Let's see, we should probably start on, right here. With our fellowship. And I kind of came up with these statements. So you can ponder this as you reach your money and say whatever you'd like to. But this one says, if poison expires, is it more poisonous or is it no longer poisonous? What do you think about it? Eric? What do we got?
Happy to see a forum of all these wonderful guests.
All right, Pastor?
Put a little in there because the last couple times we shared, I didn't put anything in. Couple things I'm happy for today. I'm very happy because autumn is my absolute favorite time of the year and it is beautiful. Looking out the window, just looking at it. So great. I'm happy for that. And then a couple dollars too for a fun evening. This last Saturday, we had a great time with the Faribault Lakelanders raising funds for Hope Center, for Bruce House of Hope, and for Whispers of Hope Counseling Center. So Greg, you're part of Lakelanders. You guys did a great job. It's not a great, it's a fun evening and several $1,000s for a race for those organizations. So excited for that.
All right, thank you. No. Okay, so who over here? So you're familiar with the word SEN, S-C-E-N? So which letter is silent? Yes, for the C. See Rebecca, actually chimed in on Zoom. Yeah, oh, you're coming back. You know, Rebecca is on Zoom every week, when she's not here for a meeting, she is on Zoom watching this. Two things, we did have a wonderful concert at River Valley Church on Saturday. We did raise in the offering over $3,100, which was the best offering we've had, you know, anybody can remember. So that was really wonderful. And Pastor Mark did a tremendous job of emceeing the event. So thank you so much for that, Mark. And Rebecca and I had a very important milestone last Friday night. We had a lovely evening celebrating the first anniversary of our courtship. We were married 3 months ago, but we began our relationship in a clear understanding of where we're going on September 30th of last year. And just wanted to share that good milestone with you. And I'm so grateful for Rotary because I met Rebecca right here in this club. Yeah. Just happy to be here. Okay, good. Now we'll move over to this table. So, this pondering question, do twins ever realize that one of them is unplanned?
Anything to Greg and wanted to just kind of let people, how to have a recorded concert, appreciate that we were able to look at that.
Right? Anything Gophers you want to talk about? Definitely. Gopher hockey last weekend won their first 2 games. They're rated number 2 in the nation. And this Friday and Saturday, they have a home series with Mankato, who's rated number 5. So good start off with hockey. All right. How about football? Football's good. So.
Some dollars in there. First, thanks to the
Faribault Daily News for doing such a great job of promoting and talking about all the stuff going on at the museum. One of the things that they talked about was actually tucked in, they were talking, made the connection, but the Hodag was in town this weekend. That is it's a invitational rally scavenger hunt out of Racine, Wisconsin. And the connection is that they stayed in Burlington. So, and then they stopped at the museum and answered 15 apparently very difficult questions. The theme for it was around the world in 80 questions. So now we have 15.
So Erica, I'll just add a bonus one here. Why is the letter W in English called W? We call it W.
These are unique questions to honor. And on the genetic theme, I'm super excited because my baby cousin just found out she was pregnant. And so my grandma's, you guys know, has not been very well. Well, she got to tell her, and so I no longer the favorite grandchild now. It's Diana. So then it was better because on that Monday, and when she was gonna bring the picture in, she Snapchatted me a picture and she said, "Ooh, I guess we have another surprise." Okay, so that's. I'm gonna tell her that. So I also want to say thank you to Blake Becker and to Pastor Mark, because it was so much fun. And at every point during the concert, at some point I just close my eyes because it's just so amazing to hear the music. So, I don't know what it is about barbershop or quartets and choruses, but the resonance is just so beautiful. So I encourage anybody to go next year because it is just phenomenal. And also the other exciting thing is that we were picked at the Visual Foundation under Women's Care. And so those are the recipients of $5,000, which I was really cool. That was not also, that was exciting. And then we have Ellie here. So every year we get an intern from St. Louis. And you know, our jobs can be a bit overwhelming and sometimes frustrating. And it is always so exciting to have new interns with us and be able to explain things, talk about things, hear her excitement for the work and this all that we do. So it's really exciting. So it's been a great meeting with having.
Go here every weekend. All right. So for this table, 100 years ago, everyone owned a horse. Only the rich had cars. Today, everyone has cars, and only the rich own horses. Honey?
Got one in there in honor of Hope Center, exciting. And then another is $80 move the second time in 6 months. Monday, and it's my good friend. I'm sitting here to my right, who got her Band-Aid, got me moved on the other. Thank you. Zapping you.
David?
I didn't help you.
It's getting so you seem to always have something to say.
Like to talk about it, put it that way. It's probably getting old and stuff like that, but I had a great time with that weekend. We can show, everyone, came recommended enough for next year, so we can get more funds to those after causes and stuff. Mark, have you done a telethon yet? Sure. Very next weekend, a lot of activities in Faribault, so it's nice to take them in, with all this downtown. So we have a nice community here, we should probably appreciate.
Center table. So, if people evolved from monkeys, why are monkeys still around? So, I have a couple of dollars. First of all, Gene, if you notice, we got your flag up on the banner over there. So, appreciate your bringing that. Another thing is that I've been concerned about wildlife having enough to drink. And so about 2 weeks ago, I took a water tank down on that pond, it was dry, filled it with water, I put my game camera up. For 3 nights, I had 7 years of on my water tank. And at different times. So that's kind of gratifying. The other dollar is for, I could put Dr. Henson. You know, he displayed the virtue of courage and after War 5. He lost again, so he gave it up and he's back at the scrub, but it took courage to do that, being been losing so consistently for so many years. Okay.
Murray, Murray, you are very seldom speaking.
I was gonna ask how the rest of us better food, nice, or see that. That's gonna be here. One day. So scared. All right, this table. Question. Who knew what time it was when the first clock was made? Okay. Put some happy dogs there for, last week was a big week for Bailey and I celebrated our third anniversary and we know that we're expected. So we're gonna get and Mark. I don't have to do it. Okay, well, we can more on that later. Okay. Amy?
I've got a few dollars there, I've been on for a few weeks, so nice to be back. Wanted to remind everyone that today is the end of the rose sale, so please, make sure that you get your numbers so that we can get our order placed. And even if you didn't, please make sure that you let me know that you didn't, so I don't have to chase down everybody that hasn't heard from, so that would help me a lot. You reply to Murray's emails, he forwards them all to me and I get you on my list, so I appreciate that very much. Then I feel like, as usual, we owe a special thank you to a couple of members. I have numbers in and I think we need to give a round of applause to Grant Wilson, who has sold 136,000 roses as of today. You know, I think it's gonna make me consider it right, who has sold 117,000 roses. Thank you very much, because as of right now, I think there's, about more than half the orders that are in. So, again, just please let me know when there are roses and it's really nice to see them.
So for this table, why are goods sent by a ship called cargo and those sent by a truck called shipment? George, did you ever find a need for that 100 or did you take 100?
Just a comment, just a question, how blessed we are in this country, in this room. When you compare the troubles that people across the world are having, people in Somalia are starving, people in Ukraine are fighting. There's poverty all over the world, and we are so blessed. A beautiful day like this, not worried about where our food is coming from, where we're going to sleep tonight. What a blessing.
Sure. You want to stay cool?
Please, yeah, well, thank you everybody for having me at Rotary today. I'm glad to be a guest of George, and I think it's what you said, and empower and Thanksgiving, right? One way we can be on our way to Thanksgiving is just to consider what it would be like if we didn't have over Thanksgiving water. So we do have some of your lessons and and I'm from Wano and help direct our program there. And I want to give a special thanks to Rotary for the support they've given to us, especially for these last 2 months. We're really using a lot of effort to try to lift up the community with creativity and tact, and I think done in patience, but also diligence. And we just wanted to come by and say thank you to Rotary Club and thank you for the spot right now, but also looking forward to our executive director and myself, the program director, having the opportunity to talk more on November 16th here at the Rotary Club about our operations and everything that's going on. So thank you.
I had pizza and politics yesterday and saw many Rotarians there and Peter was up and I think we had pretty much every candidate who's on the ballot there to present and I'm just really impressed with everyone who's running for public office, no matter what side of the party line that they're on. I think we have really good representation of all the people on our ballot locally. So I wanted to give a shout out to that event and all the Rotarians who came and supported. The other thing I just wanted to note, it was brought up several times yesterday with the levy. I wanted to say that part of the reason why the levy is so important is not only know that we have hundreds of kids leaving our community to go to Northfield and Medford and neighboring districts, and with the amount of schools that we have in this community, that shouldn't be happening. And part of the reason is that our schools are underfunded, and we don't have the programs that kids want and that families want for their kids. So every time Northfield is getting 300 of our kids coming into their district, and when one child leaves the district, the funding follows that student. So we have 300 kids going to Northfield and multiply that by 15,000 every year for every kid. That's $4.5 million a year. That's leaving Faribault to drive north to Northfield, and that's why our schools are suffering. And the levies that we need are just for basic things to keep providing basic education. We're not looking for a new hockey arena or anything like that, which other districts are looking for. It's just to keep providing basic education. So please vote yes, yes, yes.
I don't know if I should say this or not, but let me ask you a question. I understand that the way that we get funding from the state is based on grade point average. Am I right or wrong on that? No, I believe I am, as a student. Does anybody know?
It's not, economics too. By population.
What?
By population, not per.
Population, okay. That one day.
And then that's also matched by what the community does, right? So I believe that North had mentioned that it's 3 times, Northfield students get 3 times the amount of money. Is that what it was, Natalie? They get 3 times per student, what
For their local
Faribault,
levy.
what the Faribault school does, and we also get the lowest number in the Big 9 per capita per student of any of the other schools in the Big 9 that are similar in size, similar in ability to provide for kids.
All of those numbers can be found at the school district website, and it's all of those numbers. It's $640 per pupil that we get from our taxes here. It's just over $1,400 that the Northfield student gets. So, and I have a coworker who lives in Northfield, and she brought me in her levy. She got a notice yesterday in the mail or over the weekend that Northfield's going for a levy. So everybody across the state, and Jamie Benke will say this, everybody is looking for more money, so like Natalie said, it's extremely important to vote yes, yes, yes on November 8th. For our students here in Faribault, we have to support them.
So President Kurt, for you,
Yes.
there's 5 things you can't recover. 1, the stone after you throw it. 2, the word after it is said. 3, the occasion after it's missed. 4, the time after it's gone. And 5, the fleece after it's given. So there you go.
That is outstanding. A couple bucks. One is for Jake, who's behind the camera. For those of you joining us from Zoom, this is the first time I've been able to enjoy a hot meal at Rotary. So thank you so much for Jake for stepping in and being our camera person. Now, just to warn you, if you're too good at it,
Get hired. Been doing this before. Thank you so much. And $2 for my honey Natalie, who helped me check something off my bucket list this weekend. I got to see a group from Australia called the Avalanches that don't come to the United States often. And yeah, so somebody that knows who the Avalanches are, thank you. And so she had gotten me tickets, I think back in like December or something like that. And we got to see them in Minneapolis Saturday night. And then the next day on their Facebook page, they had made an announcement that the rest of their US tour was canceled because of personal reasons. We got to see the last show for this round, but so that's pretty neat. So thank you so much. All right, now the moment you've all been waiting for, and I gotta say, Murray, you know, oh, yes, oh, I'm sorry, Emily. And she's got a 10 spot. Okay, we got a- Thank you.
Y'all observed, because today I was hearing, I don't know how many people I greeted the wrong way, but I can see it now, so please forgive me. I'll do better next time I hope, thank you.
Okay, so, dad joke time, and for some of you, this is gonna be, some quite familiar. When does a dad joke become a dad joke? Pastor Greg, do you know?
Yes,
And?
when it becomes apparent.
Yes. That joke was shared via Erica, from the Lakelanders concert, and I am so proud to hear that they are embracing the dad joke concept, and what a great dad joke, that is phenomenal. Okay, so I'd like to invite Emily up to present. Let's give Emily a round.
All right, I'll try to mess this up too much, but I know you're forgiving audience, so thank you again. The reason, well, Dick Houston's the one that introduced me to Rotary really, but, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? The 4-way test was to me just amazing when I first came here and heard it. And, also that's a service group and you all do amazing, amazing services. I can't get over it. So, I thank you for letting me be a member. All right, I have to apologize for my pictures. I'm really old. And we did a lot of slides and I don't have a slide skater. So, anyway, so as you see, this isn't the best one. I was born in Kalamazoo, Michigan, in 1943. So the war was going on. And my father worked at Upjohn Company. He was a microbiologist and they were working on antibiotics. And if you'll recall, it was during World War II that antibiotics were developed. So he didn't have to go to war. There was a lot of pressure there. One of his colleagues committed suicide. And I think he got tired of the pressure. And he decided to become a professor. So, and I don't think they ever got as much money as he got at Upjohn, but this is where he taught. Athens, Georgia. I don't remember anything about Kalamazoo, but my formative years were spent in Athens until 7th grade. And so now you're going to ask me why, how come I don't speak Southern? Because when we moved to Brookings, South Dakota. Every time I opened my mouth in school, people laughed. I stood in front of the mirror and practiced speech. So when we moved up north, I shouldn't have said that yet. I'm not there yet. That's the school on the left that I went to. That's still there. These are current students. There was not a student of color when I was there. I was raised in the segregated South. The only person of color was Uncle Henry, and he was our custodian. And we had glass milk bottles, and we handed them into Uncle Henry after we ate lunch. And if you didn't drink your milk, he handed it back to you. You had to drink your milk. We love Uncle Henry. So, and I had a brother, he passed a couple years ago, but we were very close, and I'm just talking about Chase Street School because so much happened there. You couldn't do this now, but we used to leave our shoes outside the door and go barefoot. It snowed one day, and the snow melted as it hit the ground, but we all got to go outside and feel the snow coming down. So, my brother one day, okay, we had voices when he was young that were identical almost. So, John was my brother's name. One day, he took 5 biscuits out of the lunchroom and then decided he didn't want them. We put them in the toilet and the toilet clogged up. So our principal, Ms. Rollins, called my mother, who said he had to call her and apologize. Well, he talked me into doing that. She invited him to go horseback riding. I was a bit jealous. Another time, my best girlfriend and I, her name was Jean, we always tried to dress the same. And he answered the phone when she called to see what I was gonna wear. And he said, my blue dress. Well, I didn't wear a blue dress. Not only did I not wear a blue dress, but I told her she didn't call me. So we got a real argument. So those are my other, Chase Street was awesome, really was. The teachers were awesome. So, then we moved to South Dakota. Oh, wait, got another story. My best friend and I decided there was a field on our way home. I don't know why we were walking home, but we were from school. And they had mules and we decided we were gonna ride the mules. So we got in the field, we're going, to get on the mules, which, working mules like that are not very nice. Her dad drove by and we both got spanked. Oh, forgot Emma Lou. All right, we had Help. And if you've seen the movie, Help, it wasn't all like that, but I can talk about that later. But our Help, Esther, had a baby and she named it Emma Lou. Emma Lou, my namesake, right? So that child, I had a doll bed about like that. And Emma Lou was my baby. I took care of her. She was just mine. And sometimes my mother would say, leave her alone. And Esther would say, oh, she's okay. She's okay. So as she grew older, where I went, Emma Lou went. She was just amazing. Oh, my mom crashed, totaled the car. Yeah, and she never drove again. We kids were in the car. I didn't understand. I guess I didn't know what was going on. I didn't understand why she was crying, but now I understand because we were all through there. The buses, when I was young, it was a segregated South. The Black people went to the back. We white people sat at the front. So a few years ago, actually, I went to Atlanta with my husband and I rode a bus. I love to ride a city bus when you're in a new town because I think you learn a lot about the town. So I sat on the bus, right, that long seat in back of the driver, sat there next to a Black woman. And she told me so much about Atlanta, told me where to go shopping. And it was just like, hallelujah, this is changing. It's not through changing, but it was just wonderful. So things are changing, but not enough. All right, here's Brookings High School. We were the Bobcats. That was the year I graduated from high school. So, and for me, I'm really sorry to say this, and I know some of you have been teachers and a lot of you have been in education a lot. For me, high school was a social event, it truly was. I was a terrible student. I was in the office so much that Mr. Bell, our principal,
You know, if it gets into the office enough times, it's not punishment. It's, you know, you're not afraid, you get to know the office. So, you can just hear him. What is it now, Emily? 25th reunion is still remember. Out there in 1963, the love of my life, Bob, we're still married. So we're coming up on a big anniversary in July. And I just want to talk a little bit about Brookings, because it's the home of, that's a children's museum, it's awesome, that's an animated dinosaur, it's so cool. And there's Nick's Eat Shop. Now, it was written up in Time magazine a long time ago. If you ever get to Brookings, you gotta go to Nick's. It's just hamburgers, and they're just greasy as all. They're just, it's the best stuff. And so and they're inexpensive. People will go in there and have dinner, and when they'll order one, they never stop it. It's that good, seriously. And then this is the campus where my father taught. And when we moved north, we became the damn Yankees of the family. And what I'll say about that is that, my relatives down south have told me about, your blood is thicker than water, and we still love you. So that was really nice. So that's the campus. And this is Hobo Day. They have SDSU has a big football team now, they're pretty good. But every year they have Hobo Day, and there's parades and parties, and it's fun. And Dektronics, I'll just read this. This is what they do: electronic scoreboards, programmable display systems, large screen displays. That company was started in the garage by two professors from SDSU. They made it big when they did the digital signs for the Atlanta Olympics. And now they're huge. Then, after 2 years of marriage, well, okay, I was a sophomore at SDSU when I got married. And my weekend started beginning on Wednesday, but Bob was graduating. And so finally I decided I better drop out because nothing's happening good here with my grade. So after a year, I was out for a year. And Bob decided he wanted to become a veterinarian. So after a year, I got to be an in-state student because I had been a resident for a year. So we both headed up to the University of Minnesota. And I just want to put in a plug in for what it was like then compared with now. We need to fund our schools. We really need to. Bob and I got through school working, yes, we had jobs, we worked hard. We had no debt. Had no debt when we got out. And veterinary school is much more expensive than my degree. So we were funded. The state and the federal government put money into our education. And so I think it was, I'm very grateful, very, very grateful. So we had, my first job, okay, I should just say, I did graduate. And my major was microbiology, my minor was chemistry. And I had a job, this you won't believe it, 6 weeks before I graduated, I had a job. And worked in microbiology teaching labs. So, and I still can't believe this happened, because we were, I'll say, very poor. So my boss called me in, and he said, after graduation, I was full-time, and I was only part-time before. He said, do you mind if I pay you full-time for that part-time week, or those part-time weeks? Because it's too hard to do all the paperwork. You think I mind? Yeah. So I worked there, and then we have both our boys Those are 4 pictures and I really apologize. On the left are our sons. This is after we moved to Fairwell. But we had them, our kids were, the second one was quite early and we had them 9.5 months apart. So Bob was the father of the year, this sophomore year. But they never called me the mother of the year. And I thought that was quite fair. Anyway, those are our kids. We moved out in the country. We moved to Fairville after Bob graduated. Bob moved to Houston. We moved out where we are now. You can see it with the woods. We love it out there. I say I leave when they carry me out. And on the right side are our granddaughters. And that's not real current. They're both in college now. But on the left, I just have to tell you this, the brown horse that our youngest son Scott was on, that was the first horse I ever had. Bob told, I kept bugging him, I want a horse, I want a horse. So I'm sure he was like, I'll get her one, she'll have a year, she'll get over it. But that didn't happen. So we had horses until last year. Okay, I'm almost through, you guys. Except for my little lecture afterward, but on the left I couldn't get all, we were hardly ever all together at once, especially cycling, but on the left is a wonderful place. Our youngest son lives in Bayfield, Wisconsin. And that was a road, if you like to bicycle, number 236 out of Washburn. It's a logging road. It's 20 miles long with no towns in between, no roads in between. And it's beautiful. It's rated very high, country, United States wide, as a road biking road. So they're there. And this one over here is our youngest granddaughter, our oldest son, and Bob, and that was taken recently at the Tour de Wyoming. So they're all into cycling. So that brings me up to current almost. And as you know, you probably figured out I was a daddy's girl. I was a microbiology major. So, but moving to Fairville, there wasn't much call for that. I did work for 6 weeks as quality control at the turkey plant. You're hated by everyone when you do that. You're not, you're not supposed to find anything wrong. So I lasted 6 weeks. And then I went back to school when the boys were a little older and took the teaching lot and rounded out my education so I could teach earth science also. So then I got to teach all secondary sciences, which I don't think we can certify it anymore, but I could at that time. So I just want to put a plug in too for the school levy. Because I believe that the way the school goes is the way the community goes. And we really need to help our schools and help our community by helping our schools. If you take the percent of our income that we're putting in the schools now, it's nothing like it was 30 years ago. It's much less. So I would just like to put in a plug for that. Okay, I was going to talk a little bit about critical race theory, but somebody over there told me not to talk too long. So I'm just going to say I believe it's alive and well. When we moved north, I was shocked to find out that there was prejudice against the Native Americans, which we thought were really cool in the South. We didn't have any. And I see prejudice in Fairville, and of course I experienced, and not been doing it against me, but lived with it in the South. And I just want to say we're all children of God. And I'll just end it with that unless you have questions. Thank you.
Yes.
Just a comment, so my grandpa, when he was 94, I had asked him like what the biggest difference was in his life that he'd seen in his life. And I expected him to say like cars or, television or landing on the moon, I don't know. But what he said was antibiotics.
Oh, wonderful.
That was to him the biggest
Yeah,
transformation.
Yeah.
And then, when I started thinking about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, because he had lost a sibling because of something that now would have been treated very easily.
Yeah.
And just how many people have different lives, my children included, because of the beauty of antibiotics.
thank you for saying that. I wish Dad were here to hear it.
Thank you so much, Emily. That was absolutely wonderful. All right. Oh, and did you want to hear about the prayer?
Oh, I forgot that. I'm so sorry. This is really important. I live in the woods and I'm on the Fairfield Guard Little Commission, so, yeah. Oh my gosh, it's a prayer of the woods. A friend put that on Facebook and I just had to find, especially with what we're experiencing now with our drought and floods and whatever else is happening. So I'm gonna read it. I am the heat of your heart on the cold winter nights, the friendly shades greeting you from the summer sun. And my fruits are refreshing droughts, quenching your thirst as you journey on. I am the beam that holds your house, the board of your table, the bed on which you lie, and the timber that builds your boat. I am the handle of your home, the door of your homestead, the wood of your cradle, and the shell of your coffin. I am the bread of kindness and the flower of beauty. You who pass by, listen to my prayer. Harm me not. Thank you.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
On that note, meeting is adjourned. Be kind to each other. So much.